The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug was the second most disappointing thing I've ever seen. Second to An Unexpected Journey, of course. And I honestly thought it would be better. I mean, Peter Jackson couldn't fuck up 2 movies in a row, could he? But was I wrong? Kind of like a battered housewife returning to her husband hoping he's changed. Long story short, the first movie kind of sucked and let down most of the fans of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Or at least the fans who weren't like 10 years old or dumb. Or both. A lot of people tried to brush it off thinking that this one has like a dragon and more characters and more action. And look, Legolas is back. That's a good sign, right? We're using stuff from the original films, but we were wrong. It sucked. Again. So what's wrong with The Hobbit this time? I'm glad you asked. Part 1. Thorin is an unstable idiot. Thorin is the second lead in the film after Bilbo. Like the more heroic one. Just like how in Lord of the Rings we had Aragorn being the second lead after Frodo. He has different responsibilities and different motives. Thorin is also the most fucked up character in the movies. I don't mean fucked up like, oh, I got super fucked up last night. No, I mean like they fucked up writing his character. Let's take a look. First, let's compare him to Aragorn. They're both the rightful king to a kingdom that is beyond their reach. They are both the last descendant of an important bloodline. They both have to defeat the forces that killed their ancestors and ruined their kingdoms. They both lead the company on a quest. They both have beards. Aragorn worked as a heroic lead because as we get to know him, we realize how selfless, caring, and capable he is. Even though he is a king, he's humble about it. His one flaw is that he's afraid of the responsibility of being a king and the power that comes with it. Thorin has no good qualities. I'm going to prove my opinion correct right now. He has constant mood swings. He's insulting.
He looks more like a grocer than a burglar.
He's stubborn.
I told him he could go Ishkakve on Dognol.
He's paranoid.
To seek refuge with our enemy.
Intolerant. Ignores advice.
Gandalf said to meet him here on no account will we...
Do you see him?
Ignores his subordinates.
Gandalf said...
Do as I say. Follow me.
Impatient.
Gandalf. Time is wasting.
Arrogant.
We make our own luck.
Is governed by his emotions. Selfish.
I will not risk this quest for the life of one burglar.
Volatile. And he's racist.
Elves.
Him and all his kin!
I've examined his behavior and his personality traits with a behavioral psychologist and come to the conclusion that Thorin is in fact suffering from borderline personality disorder. It's hard to admire a character when he lacks self-awareness, is selfish, thinks he's superior to all others, and has mood swings. It's like Thorin is going through the socially awkward teenage years. Imagine this type of character in the role of a king. He would be less of a leader and more of a tyrant, probably planning a genocidal war to exterminate the elves.
The inferno that destroyed us!
It's revealed in the first movie that the reason that the dwarves hold Thorin in such high regard is because he is of royal bloodline and led them to victory in battle. But since the only dwarves to witness this act were Dwalin and Balin, that leaves 10 others that need to be won over by his leadership and character. And since Thorin is an arrogant asshole with a huge sense of entitlement, I find it very hard to accept that none of the dwarves said, "Fuck this, I'm not following this prick." Especially when he says,
If this is to end in fire, then we will all burn together.
The dwarves should be looking at each other like, did he just decide for us to burn alive? We should sneak out of here quickly. Now, before you book fans explode, I know Thorin is a bit of a pompous ass in the book. But guess what? We're in movie territory now. The writers had 2 options. 1, make Thorin more admirable, like Aragorn. 2, start Thorin off as an arrogant prick and give him an arc, so you want him to claim the throne. Obviously they went for option 2, but they fucked it up. I don't feel like he's learning something about himself and leadership. I feel like he's coming apart at the seams and is becoming more volatile. The only dwarf that we know that can handle pressure, take advantage of a bad situation and turn it into a good one, and shows respect for smaller and weaker people is Balin.
You're from Lake Town, if I'm not mistaken. That barge over there, it wouldn't be available for hire by any chance.
This is the one time a dwarf makes a spur-of-the-moment executive decision that doesn't backfire. And Thorin never asks his advice. Anyways, now that we've established that Thorin is an asshole and will make a terrible king, let's examine the rest of the movie where we're supposed to be rooting for him to become king. Remember in An Unexpected Journey when we discovered they had to get into Erebor before the final light of Durin's day? Jackson is desperately looking for a plot device to add stakes to their story, so they make sure that the audience knows that the dwarves are working against a ticking clock. He also assumes that the audience is mentally handicapped and can't remember simple details. So he turns Thorin into a vessel for obvious expositional dialogue, but tries to disguise it as delegation.
Come on, we must reach the mountain before the sun sets on Durin's Day.
Durin's Day.
Let's go. It's our one chance to find the hidden door.
In fact, the only line we see spoken is,
Come on.
my guess is that this dialogue was never written when they shot this scene. Then when they split the two movies into 3, they tried to trick the audience into thinking the movies had structure. So they were like, okay, we need a plot to take off in the first 30 minutes, so that's when Gandalf will decide to check out the High Fells, and we can remind the audience that the dwarves need to reach Erebor before Durin's Day. There, done.
But Peter, we never recorded that dialogue at the edge of Mirkwood.
I don't care, fix with ADR or something. Then cut to a video game cutscene. They're done. Buy CGI horses. So then they had Richard Armitage and Martin Freeman record some additional dialogue in a recording studio, and then put it in the movie when we can't see their mouths.
Before the sun sets on Durin's Day.
Durin's Day.
Let's go. It's our one chance to find the hidden door.
And that's how Peter Jackson makes his movies now. All scripts and planning go out the window as soon as they're greenlit, and then he fixes them in post.
It's the dwarves being chased by Smaug. They run through halls and passageways and God knows what. I hadn't really figured this out properly because we're not entirely sure.
It's not a particularly ideal scenario to have the end of a movie be your first half and the beginning of another movie be your second half. That is not a film.
Now, in case we're total idiots, let's get some more expositional dialogue explaining what we already know.
Tomorrow begins the last days of autumn.
Durin's Day falls the morning after next. We must reach the mountain before then.
And again.
We'll have to, if we're to find the door before nightfall. We can risk no more delays.
And again.
Sun will soon reach midday. We must find the hidden door into the mountain before it sets.
Aside from clunky dialogue and Thorin's personality disorders, what else will make him a good candidate for king? Having an emotional breakdown under stress.
Is there no end to this accursed forest?
Putting his followers at risk of permanent imprisonment. Maybe even torture because he doesn't like an elf.
We offer you a deal.
I told him he could go Ishkarkve on Dognul.
As soon as we have the weapons, we make straight for the mountain.
Thorin convinces the group that they need weapons because... because they're gonna stab Smaug to death. No, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. Because they've been chased by orcs, I guess? Even though they seem to have lost the orcs, and they have no reason to think that the orcs will find them in Lake Town. I mean, they were like snuck in. Nobody else knows that they're there. No, I know. Even though neither Azog, Yaznag-Balg, or the Necromancer have said anything about stopping the dwarves entering Erebor, we're supposed to assume that they will try to stop them between Lake Town and Erebor. But that never happens either. I don't know, maybe they just like carrying weapons to feel tough or something. Or it's a shoehorned plot device for them to get arrested and meet the Master. I'll let you decide. So let me see if I got this straight. So Thorin, the admirable and smart king, decides it would be a good idea to break into the city's armory and steal weapons that they never use. You know, it would have been smart. Thorin could delegate, like a leader, and send Bilbo the contracted burglar and another dwarf or two to be quiet and sneaky to steal some weapons. And if they get caught, then at least the rest of the dwarves can still head for the mountain. But no. Thorin decides that all 14 of them are required... 13, I don't know, of them are required to break into an armory, and then they still fuck it up.
You're right. I can manage. Let's just get out of here.
I bet if Balin were in charge, they'd be in the mountain already. Anyways, Thorin the Terrible got them all arrested, and are now being questioned by the Master in front of a mob, because that's how interrogations work. Out in the public for all to see. Thorin immediately resorts to the slimiest political strategy, appealing to the poor common folk by reminding them of what used to be and then promising them money.
I remember this town in the great days of old. This was no forsaken town on a lake. You will have enough gold to rebuild Esgaroth 10 times over!
This seems like something that the Master should be doing, not Thorin. And instead of Balin saying, shouldn't we discuss this? He just looks at Thorin like, what a great king. Because false promises are great. Lazy writing. Then the crowd slips into the role of a live audience of the Big Bang Theory, loudly expressing their emotions, which are being thrown in every direction.
It'll cost you.
Taxes! Right.
Come on!
All right, that's a good point. Yes.
I don't care about these people. I don't care if they approve of the quest. I'm glad that they get burned alive in the third movie. Then Bilbo gets his first meaningful line in 23 minutes, even though he's been in every scene since. He vouches for the character of Thorin because Thorin has been so kind to him. And Thorin looks amazed that Bilbo is standing up and doing something important, even though this is seriously the 6th time that Bilbo has proven his worth. And when I say the 6th, I'm not exaggerating. Outsmarts the trolls, comes back at the end of an unexpected journey, saves Thorin, causing Thorin to apologize and praise him, saves him from the spiders, breaks them out of prison. Bilbo has actually contributed more to the quest than any other dwarf, including Thorin. But Thorin is still like,
Who? What? How? Bilbo? I thought he was useless.
Jackson is just trying to stretch out the same character conflict and drama that's been going on for over 4 hours of screen time. How about something new?
The halfling does not belong here. He has no place amongst us.
Then comes the most ass-backwards scene in the whole movie. They think they've missed their window of opportunity, and after years of longing, months of planning, and weeks of travel, they give up. They just walk away. They don't say, well, let's look around, or try the front gate that Smaug smashed open. We have to try. They just walk away. Do they actually care? This is supposed to be Thorin's destiny and his purpose, and he just gives up. The only one who behaves like a normal person would is Bilbo. And to throw in another Lord of the Rings reference, the lead Hobbit has to figure out how to open it. This is backwards. This is wrong. What should have happened is, Thorin stays behind, refusing to give up. Then after the moon shines, he gets excited, drops the key, only to have Bilbo's foot stomp down and save it. This just makes it feel like Thorin is profiting off of Bilbo's good qualities, not his own. He doesn't even thank Bilbo. None of them do. Congratulations, Hacks and Walsh and Boyens. You just proved to your audience that you don't know what you're doing anymore.
It's stuck.
Then after Bilbo is snooping around trying to find the Arkenstone, the very next thing we see Thorin do is condemn Bilbo to death because...
I will not risk this quest for the life of one burglar.
Even though he opened the fucking door for you. And then he threatens to directly kill Bilbo because he suspects he might have the Arkenstone. This is not exactly the mark of a good leader. Sometimes I think the writers were flipping coins to determine whether Thorin would like Bilbo or be a bastard. The only reason he doesn't kill Bilbo and search his pockets is because Smaug shows up. Then Thorin's like, holy shit, save me guys. I realize that they're trying to build up the dragon sickness, but they really should have saved that for after Smaug dies, and then he has the gold. Because right now, he's just an ass. No excuses. Actually, I take it back. I shouldn't compare Thorin to Aragorn. He's actually closer to the character of Denethor. Denethor is paranoid.
And with your right, you'd seek to supplant me.
Arrogant.
How did you escape and my son did not?
He has mood swings. And he's mean to hobbits. When one of the movie's leads has more qualities of a villain than a hero, it's time for the writers to step back and say, maybe we should take a different approach.